Hi, Annie Chen Taylor here, and today I want to talk to you about a topic that most people usually don't think of as all that joyful or fun to discuss. But I want to talk to you today about the grieving process and about grief, and what if it could look totally different than is normally done in this reality. So, the past 4 weeks, I have been kind of finding myself in this grieving process. And I just had a big aha moment today that I wanted to share with you. So, anyway, the past 4 weeks, about 3.5 weeks ago, my son left for college, and he's attending a university out of state. And my daughter, who is a junior in college, is also attending a college out of state for the first time in a national student exchange program. And so I was experiencing empty nest syndrome. And I just had this big aha moment today because as I was looking at how I have been going in and out of weepiness, it's interesting for me because I got to a place of not making myself wrong for crying. I don't know about you, but when I was growing up, crying was not always looked at as an okay thing. In fact, there were times when I felt I was really wrong for crying. Whether I interpreted that or whether that was actually projected at me, either way, I bought into the point of view that crying wasn't something that, oh, I don't know, mature people or, it just wasn't the right thing to do. So, or at least the way I cried, it wasn't the right thing to do. Anyway, so the past few weeks I've been weepy on and off, and because my son moved out and, I was missing him. And one of the things that I noticed was when it began a few days before I took him to college. I had this awareness while I was at the university moving him into the dorm that this intense emotion of sadness was not mine. And so I shared this tool in previous videos, the Who Does This Belong To tool. So the idea is that not everything that you think and feel is actually yours. And what if this simple tool of just returning what you're perceiving from others, sending it back to them with consciousness attached, could actually shift the underlying energy and not stick you with what you thought was yours. So anyway, while I was at the university, I was aware that a lot of the weepiness that I was feeling wasn't mine. So I returned to sender with consciousness attached and it would go away. So then when I was driving home from the university, I felt really good, And then when I got home and I was sitting in the kitchen, at the kitchen table, and I realized, wow, my son's not going to be coming home anymore, I got all weepy. And I stopped the tears, though, because I was kind of functioning from the wrongness of the tears. And yeah, one of the things, though, that I ended up doing, though, was asking questions around that and realizing that they weren't tears of sadness, they were tears of gratitude. And sometimes we misidentify gratitude for sadness when there are tears involved. And so once I recognized that, it stopped. But over the next few weeks, I noticed I would get weepy on and off. And that was kind of good because I went into allowance of my tears and not having judgment around it. But interesting enough, when I was in a space where I felt like, wow, I'm okay with my kids being away And I have to tell you that leading up to when they were going off to college, I was actually looking forward to them going off and reclaiming my time. And I loved having them. I loved being a mom and having them at home, but I also was not sad with with anticipating that they would be going off to college. So it surprised me for a few weeks where I would be getting on and off weepy. But when I was in a space when I wasn't weepy, it was funny. I thought, okay, I'm not feeling this strong heaviness around them being gone. I think I'll write um, a blog post or do a video post about these tools that can help people, um, or the tools like who does this belong to, and also share insights and awareness of how we buy into certain definitions of what grieving is supposed to look like, and then we buy into that, and because our points of views create our reality, we tend then to live that experience. So it was really funny because as I was preparing to do this post, it hit me how a couple weeks ago, maybe like a week after I got back from dropping Ryan off at the university, I went online to see what kind of tools were out there for people who were experiencing empty nest syndrome. And it's funny because as I was reading those articles, and I actually took in what a lot of moms and parents go through when they experience empty nest syndrome, and kind of buying into that if you do not have children at home, you are experiencing empty nest syndrome. So I just had this aha moment that for the past 2 weeks since reading all of those articles, the weepiness that would come and go was because I actually bought into that I should be experiencing these bouts of weepiness. So when I asked the question, so truth, am I, so what, I'm trying to remember exactly the question that I asked, but it was something like, truth, am I living the empty nest syndrome definition? And like just asking that now, it really lightened up. Like, yeah, that's what I was doing. So everywhere that you're buying into the definition of grieving or the definition of empty nest syndrome and all of the expectations of what that's supposed to look like, would you be willing to destroy and uncreate all that? And yeah, let that go. So if you're familiar with the access consciousness statement, we could shift that energy by saying this declaring statement: right, wrong, good, bad, pod, poc, all nine shorts, boys, and beyonds. Cool. So that lightens up. So, and if I know that was a string of weird words, you could go to theclearingstatement.com and find out more about that and how energetically it shifts the energies underlying limitations or points of views or judgments that you've bought into, that you're living your life from, that are actually keeping you from truly expressing you as you. So anyway, I really appreciate that I decided to do this video because it gave me a new awareness that I'm really excited to share with you. So be in the question of, okay, am I living from an expectation or a definition or a conclusion of my circumstance? And maybe that could lighten up the grieving process. So when I have had tears, I've been in the question, and I realized that sometimes they were tears of gratitude for the huge contribution that my kids have been to my life. And I'm also totally celebrating them stepping into the world without having me there present, physically present 24/7. So anyway, I hope this helps anybody out there that might be quote unquote experiencing empty nest syndrome, that what if it doesn't have to look the way that it's been defined? And what if you could actually function from a really grateful and joyful state? And if some tears come, I wonder, are they tears of gratitude and not actually sadness? And if they are sadness, then just be present with them and be an allowance. There's nothing wrong with that either. There's no wrongness in tears. So just be an allowance of what you're experiencing and be in the question. Truth, is this really mine, or is it, am I acting out a definition that I bought into? Okay, have a great day, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye.